events. Let's talk about them. Alright, we find ourselves back in Intelligent once more, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about events in Fabric, a highly anticipated tutorial here once again. So this is going to be, well, a very interesting topic indeed. So we're definitely going to, well, actually hook into one specific event here. And I'll also tell you how you can basically look up events, including I will link to great wiki articles from the Fabric wiki in the description below that are going to hopefully help you out even further. But what you want to take a look at is the event factory class. You're just going to press shift twice and then say event factory. And this one from net fabric event and so on and so forth. And what you want to do is you want to, probably this one right here, you want to middle mouse button click on the create array backed one. I'm unsure if this one, okay, this is the world render events. There's also some with phases, not really anything. So this one is really the one that is like the most important one. If you middle mouse button click on this, you can actually see all of the different event classes. So for example, entity sleep events, we have server player events, attack entity callback. This is the one we're going to use in a moment. Player block break events. We have client block entity events, client chunk events. So you can see there's a lot of different events here. And in most of those classes here, there are multiple events. As you can see, there's a register event, chat event, join init. We have query start, disconnect. That's from the login stuff. HUD render callback. We've already used this one. So there's quite a few of them, and if you go more usages, you can see there's a lot of in the screen event factory as well. So there's a lot of events actually, contrary to popular belief, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, Fabric doesn't have that many events. It actually does have quite a few events that are very useful, but you know, as you can see, they're not as I would say easily accessible as the events in Forge sometimes. Whatever the case may be, we're going to use the actual callback, the attack entity callback event over here. So let's just go into this. And you can see this is called, you can actually see this, right? Callback for a left-clicking attacking, right? Attacking an entity is hooked in before the spectator check. So the general idea here is that basically it's going to happen when you attack an entity. Very interesting stuff indeed. So what we can then do is we can hook into this. Now, this is the question that a lot of people have, right? But how do I use this, right? It's an interface. I don't even know how this works. It's actually very, very simple. The events themselves always work the same way. So let's just, like, for the sake of argument, let's open any other event over here, right? This one, whatever. You can always see that they have a register over here, right? So this is the register one, and they usually also have an interface associated with it. This is always the case, right? So basically an event always has an interface and an event over here. The interface is used to create your custom code, and the event public static final field here is used to register your stuff. So what does that mean? Well, let's just go into our event package and let's create the following event. This is going to be a new Java class called the attack entity handler. We're just going to call it like that. That's going to be okay. Now this will implement the attack entity callback. So attack entity callback. There you go. Let's hover over this, implement the method, the interact method. This is the method right here, right? So this interact method. And that's going to be very interesting indeed. So here now we can basically add our own custom code. We can do all sorts of craziness, basically anything we want. Now what I want to do is I want, if the entity that is attacked is a sheep, I just want to basically output something in the chat. That's it. So if entity instance of sheep entity and the world is not client, because otherwise it will get called twice, then we're just going to say player.send message. We're going to say text.literal. And then we're going to say this is some translation stuff just so that I have the proper name for the player. I think I need this. I actually don't know if I even need the translation for the player name. Player.getName. No, there should be a get name as well. There you go. Get name, get string. I think that should just work. Plus, hurt a sheep. Think about that. Craziness, I know. And there you go. That should be pretty much what we need in this case. And this is now going to output the player name hurt a sheep when you attack a sheep. Now here with the return, very important that we want to actually put in actual result pass. Now the reason why we want to do this is because it actually looks for any type of action result. If it's not passed, then it's just going to cancel the callback. I'm not quite sure why that is the case, but this is quite important in my testing. It didn't work if you didn't have the action result pass in here. That's very interesting indeed, and that would pretty much be the implementation here. Now, of course, you can, change this around, you can do other stuff, all of that, but that's fine. This is all that you need here in this case. If you want to implement this again, you would have to make a new class, or you would have to do, some funky stuff. I would imagine that it's probably easier to just make a new class over here and then add another thing. Now the question is, how do you register it? Well, we have this event over here, and we can use this. So in our tutorial mod class, right, what we're just going to do is we're just going to say attack entity callback. So this is the fabric class .event .register, and then creating a new of our custom classes over here, new attack entity handler. That's it. You're done. The event has been created. This is now going to be called the interact method when, the entity callback is called, and you can see this usually has everything that you're going to need. So the description usually is, adequate here. And that's it. That's how you basically hook into certain events. It's actually not that crazy and not that complicated. So let's go into the game and see if it works. All right, so we find ourselves back in Minecraft, and just for the sake of argument, let's attack a cow. Nothing happens, absolutely. And if we attack a sheep, so left-click the sheep, you can see player 399 hurt sheep. Nice. So this basically works. Now this will actually also happen in spectator mode. You can see if I left click it, now you also go into the entity, of course, at that point. But the idea is that you also basically this also gets output, because this is literally what it says, is basically it's going to happen regardless of your game mode. So you can basically check for that as well. It's not that crazy, but I just wanted to mention it regardless. So that's pretty awesome indeed for events. So to complete this, for example, you can say, is player not spectator, and then it should also be fine. So just keep that in mind. Then you can do that as well, and that would be okay. Regardless, I will also link, as I've said, 2 wiki articles from the Fabric wiki in the description below that might be able to help you also create your own events. It actually isn't that crazy. If there's like a ton of demand for, you wanting to see a tutorial on custom events as well, then please do feel free to leave me a comment. We'll see. Maybe I will do it. Maybe I won't. That's going to be decided depending on the demand. Anyway, that's going to be it for this tutorial right here. Hope you found this useful and you learned something new, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial. So, yeah.